Anything is possible, it started with a dream. Our passion made a difference and built a family. We've grown strong together, you know it's all because everybody plays a part in doing what we love.
Hello everyone, it's Donna Gray here, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the Northern Rivers area in New South Wales, Australia. I'm so super excited to be bringing you one of my technique videos. So I hope you're enjoying the series that I'm doing here on YouTube. And here is another awesome technique. So let's get stamping. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Donna Gray and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the Northern Rivers area in New South Wales, Australia. I'm bringing you another fun technique today and it's called Magic Reveal Technique. Now you're probably thinking, what in the world is a magic reveal technique? Well, I'm about to show you. So first of all, you need a few things. We need to have some ink colors in a color family. So I've gone for the greens today. So I've got Old Olive, Shaded Spruce, Granny Apple Green. Then you will also need some of our fluid paper. This is our watercolor paper and it's called Fluid 100. So we're going to grab a sheet of that. Okay, and then what we're actually going to do, you need a scrap piece of paper to pop underneath your watercolor paper because we're going to do a bit of sponging with some makeup brushes and a bit of color technique. And you will also need a mask. So I'll just grab a mask. We have several different masks. I might actually do, I could do that one or I could do that one. We will see. We may do two here just to be able to do this magic reveal. And then you also need a spritzer filled with water. Okay, so we've got a water-filled spritzer here, ready to go. Yep. All right. So what we're actually going to do is on our scrap piece of paper, I'm going to grab a bit bigger scrap piece of paper than that one. So on our scrap piece of paper, we're going to pop our piece of watercolor paper down. We're then going to pop our mask down. We're then going to color with our makeup brushes. So the first color I'm going to do is I'm going to color in the middle with the lightest color. So I'm going to do a light color in the middle and a darker color on both ends. All right, so we're going to grab our ink with our sponge and we're going to ink up our sponge and we're going to just lay a layer of ink. Now, the main thing with this is we want to get as much ink onto our cardstock as we possibly can, all right? So we definitely want to load up as much as we possibly can onto that cardstock. So keep rubbing it and loading up as much as you possibly can. The more ink, the better the effect. Okay, so we've got that in the middle. And then I'm going to go to Old Olive for one end. So I'll open up my Old Olive. And we're going to go up this part here for the Old Olive. So once again, grabbing that makeup brush, popping as much ink onto that watercolor paper as we can get. Okay. I did try this with a brayer, but I just felt like the makeup brushes added a lot more ink. And the whole idea is we need to load up that watercolor paper with ink. So about 4 or 5 times going over the watercolor paper with your ink. So now I'm going to, and you will get inky doing this process. Let me tell you, you get inky fingers by doing this process. Then I'm going to go through with the shaded spruce, and I'm going to do the shaded spruce on that bottom end. Okay. So inking it up and getting quite a bit of ink onto that watercolor paper. So as I said, about 5 or 6 times going through, adding as much ink as we can load onto that watercolor paper as we can. Okay, so we've got a fair bit of color there on our watercolor paper. Now, this is the fun part. So we're going to pop our mask over the top. So I'm going to do dots. Just for something different, I'm going to do dots. I've done some of the other, and I'll show you some, I'll bring some in that I've done of the others. So I'm going to pop that over there. I'm then going to grab, you could use painter's tape to do this. I just used sticky notes and just pop some sticky notes along the side, because what's actually going to happen is when we spritz with our watercolor paper is going to want to curl up, and we don't want it to curl up too much. So the more we stick it down with our sticky notes, the better it's going to hold its shape. All right, so I'm just sticking some sticky notes along all 4 sides just to hold that down. As I said, painter's tape would work really well. If I had painter's tape, I would use painter's tape. But at this stage, I don't have any painter's tape in my craft room. So sticky notes are going to have to do the job. All right, so we've got sticky notes all the way along the top, the bottom, and down both sides. All right, so that's enough to hold our watercolor paper as much as we possibly can. It probably will still curl. Now the idea is you grab your spritzer, and you may want some paper towels as well, because I do this process a couple of times. So I just grab some paper towels ready to go. Okay. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to hold our spritzer up above, and we're going to spritz a liberal amount of water over our mask. So just like that. Okay, so we've spritzed a fair bit with our water, just double checking that you've got some of the areas that you may have missed a little bit with some water. And then I'm just going to take a paper towel, and I'm just going to blot the excess with a paper towel. Now what's actually going to happen is the water is actually going to lift some color off that colored piece of watercolored paper. And because we've got a mask, our water will have only just been spritzed where the mask allowed it to penetrate through. So I'm going to do that a second time. You can see here the color that it's lifted out of your watercolor piece of paper. So I'm going to do it one more time. So I'm just going to spritz randomly again. I just find doing it a second time, you get a little bit more color lift and a little bit more action. All right, so I'm going to once again go over with my paper towel and blot that water. Okay. And then lift that up. So you can see again, it's definitely taking some of the color out. All right. So now is going to be the fun part of revealing the pattern. Now, as this dries, it actually shows up the pattern way better as it dries, because it gets lighter as it dries. So you will see more of the distinct pattern after it has actually dried properly. Okay, so I'm just going to remove those sticky notes. And then now is the magic reveal. I'm going to take that grotty piece of paper away so you don't get to see that. So now's the magic reveal. We're going to be able to take our mask off and we're going to see, look at our gorgeous pattern we have. Now, once again, I go over that again with a paper towel again, just to blot off any of the excess water. But you've instantly got a beautiful background. And all we're using is ink and watercolor paper and a mask. So you can see that you can create some really gorgeous backgrounds by using this technique. So I'm just going to bring in another few that I've done, and then we actually will make a card out of some of the ones that I've got that are dry. So I'll pop that one aside and I'll bring in another one. So I've done this gorgeous one here. So as you can see, that was actually using this mask. So we have quite a few of these different patterned masks available in our online store. So that one there has a gorgeous pattern, and I've used with this one Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana and Blueberry Bushel were the colors that I used there. Then I've got this gorgeous one here, which I decided to go for the real earthy tones, the real warm tones. So I've used Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Pumpkin Pie, and our Cajun Craze. Okay, so we've got a gorgeous look there, and I've used the mandala mask that we sell in our online store. And then I have got this gorgeous one here, which is probably one of my favorites because I absolutely love the purples and the pinks. So with this one, I have used, in the middle here, Melon Mambo, and I have used Blackberry Bliss, and I've used Rich Raspberry on the top. So all done on watercolor paper and using our masks. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to show you how we can actually create a gorgeous card using these beautiful backgrounds that we have created. So the first thing what I'm going to do is cut it into a layer that will be a great size for my card. And I'm quite happy to use that lighter side there. So I'm going to go to 3.5 inches here, like that, so that I get that lighter side on my card. And then I want to take it to 5.25 inches. So I want to just take a little bit off that end there, like that, and then turn it, and we'll go to 5.25 inches, and that will give us a good amount of that color. So you can see we've got that gorgeous background. Now, one of the things, don't throw these pieces away because you will be able to use them on other projects. And one of the things with watercolor paper is it is quite a porous paper. And you'll find that when you trim it, you get these little furry edges. So all I do is with just a normal emery board, just go along and file those edges down just to get rid of those little furry bits. Now, I don't know what it is, but every time I use watercolor paper, that happens to the edges. So it's just one of my little pet hates, and I can't make a card without fixing that situation. All right, so we have that. So I think what we might do is we will bring in the tones of the colors that we were using. So we might use Melon Mambo as our base. So I'm just going to take a piece of Melon Mambo cardstock cut at 5.75 inches by 8 inches, and we will fold that in half. Okay, and score with our bone folder. And then I want to back this with a little bit of cardstock to make that really pop. So I think probably what I want to do is maybe with our, let me see. I don't know whether I want to do Rich Raspberry in behind it. I think I want to do black, basic black. So I'll grab a piece of black. And we'll cut a layer. So because this one here is 5.25 by 3.5, we will do this layer at 5 3/3 by 3 5/3. So I'm doing it, 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. So 5 3/8. So I'm doing it 1/8 of an inch larger than our colored layer. And that way, what I'm going to get, if I've done my measurements right, we're just going to get just that tiny little slither of black in behind. And I think that really makes it pop on that card base. So I'm going to glue those together with my liquid Tombow. And you can use tear and tape because this is, our watercolor paper is quite thick. So you can use tear and tape if you feel like it will glue it down a lot flatter onto your card base. Mine have dried really nice and flat. I left these layers pinned down the way I had them and let them dry naturally. So because I left them pinned down, they have dried fairly flat. So I don't really have the problem of it being curled up and not sitting nice and straight. But you can see there, that has created a gorgeous background. Now, something to make this background even prettier is if we take our Wink of Stella, because I absolutely love a little bit of shimmer and shine. So if we take our Wink of Stella and we grab something like my Take Your Pick tool, I'm just going to squeeze a little bit down into the barrel of my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to spritz that card front with my Wink of Stella. Now, it has changed a background that was already gorgeous into something sparkly and beautiful. Can you see that sparkle and shine? So that has just taken it to a whole new level. Now, I already have one of these little sentiments that I had left over from another project. So I already have that on my desk, and I was thinking that I wanted to just pop that up. I want this card to be just quite plain and simple because I want to see that gorgeous background, because as far as I'm concerned, the background is the focal point to this card. So I'll bring in some of our metallic thread because you know I love my metallic thread. It just creates that little bit of something in behind your sentiment layer when you're popping it onto a card. And because this background is actually so dark, this gorgeous rose thread will absolutely show up gorgeous on it. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of my sentiment layer. So just like so, and we will pop some of this into that double-sided tape. So just pull off that strip. Okay, I just want to see where the sentiment is. It's just there. So I'm just going to put that in a bit of a messy, tousled look in behind that sentiment, making sure that our ends are stuck down into our double-sided tape. So we have that, and you can see that has just made that simply stunning. So we'll pop that up onto some dimensionals to pop onto our card. And with your Take Your Pick tool, you can grab your dimensional backings off just like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to line that up. I'm thinking down here where we can get a lot of that gorgeous metallic thread in the dark area so it can show it off. And then I'm just going to turn that over and trim that level with my card, trying not to trim my metallic thread. Okay, so just like that. And then I'm just going to pop that up onto my card front, and then I'm going to use some of that we had left over, that strip that we had left over. I'm going to use some of that to create a gorgeous insert for the card. So we're bringing a little bit of the front of the card to the inside of the card, because you know me, we have to always decorate the inserts of our cards. You can't ever leave your inserts bare, people. We don't want to have bare inserts in our cards. It's just not right. Can't have a naked inside. Okay, all right, so we're going to pop that on the front like that. And I'm also going to bring in some of our gorgeous brand new gilded gems. These are absolutely stunning for creating that little bit of extra something on the front of your card. So I'm just going to grab my other take a pick tool, and I'm just going to pop a couple of these around. So I'm just going to pop one off there. And I'm just using the medium size one here. So you can see already that has just made the front of that card special. So now we're just going to grab a white insert for our card, which I have one here. So I'm going to grab a white insert, and then I'm actually going to trim this down, because I think what I want to do is just put a really gorgeous strip of that onto the front of our card. So the first thing what we need to do is make it the same size as the front of our card. So I'm just going to bring in my little baby trimmer here, and I'm just going to line that up where we need to trim it. Okay, so line them up in my trimmer. And this is how we can use our baby trimmer for getting the exact length that we need. So we're just going to trim that off. Okay, so we've got it the exact length that we need it, but I don't want it that wide. So I'm just going to pop it back into my trimmer again. And I'm probably going to do maybe about a 1/2 inch strip. I think that's about all I need. Or we might do 3/4 of an inch so we can see more of that pattern. Okay, 3/4 of an inch like that. And then I've got this gorgeous strip for the insert of my card. So I'm just with some liquid glue going to pop some glue on the back of that. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that strip down there like that. And then some liquid glue on the back of that. And we can pop that on the insert of our card. Okay, and there you have a gorgeous card using the magic reveal technique. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll just do a close-up view of that so you can see that card and the gorgeous shimmer and shine that we have. So if this is the first time you have watched my YouTube channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. You will find it in the show more box, down in the right-hand corner. All of the items that I've used to create this card today, you will find in the show more box down below. There's also the link to my online store. If you would love to, if you live in Australia and you would like to purchase any of the items that I've used during this video today, you can click on my show more box down below. You will find the link to my online store. You will also find the links to the items that I have used in the supply list, or you can, if you wish, ring me on my mobile, which you will find the information in the show more box down below, and you can place your order over the phone. So, as I said, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn that bell notification on. And I'm Donna Gray. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the Northern Rivers area in New South Wales, Australia. Until next time, everybody, happy crafting. Bye for now.